Pat is a certified scuba diver with more than 18 years' experience. He is searching for UFO debris that is different from the local geology. The debris is reported to appear and feel like lava rock, with a porous surface and jagged serrated edges.
A hand.
Freaking cold.
Good to see your face.
Any slag? I took some sand samples from the bottom, and I picked up a few rocks that looked like they could be the kind of rocks we're looking for.
Well, we'll see. Climb up, get warm,
Oh,
get your body
good.
temperature back to 80.
Saw some stones on the ground that may be related to slag somehow. In doing an investigation like this, you can't leave any stone unturned.
Coming up, is this a piece of material jettisoned by a UFO in 1947?
And the other theory is that they were carrying pieces of extraterrestrial slag.
And could it be that this type of debris somehow caused the deaths of 2 military officers sent to investigate the UFO sighting? In June 1947, over 2 weeks before the reported UFO crash at Roswell, New Mexico, 3 men and a teenage boy on a boat in Puget Sound watched as a donut-shaped metallic UFO, apparently experiencing some sort of malfunction, jettisoned dark lava-like slag just before it stabilized and reportedly zoomed off. Working from the testimony of Harold Dahl, the captain of the boat, the team has located the spot where the debris fell into the water.
You got some samples down there of soil.
I thought it couldn't hurt.
Well, we could classify these pretty quickly, I'm sure. Whoa, hold on, gentlemen. This is very interesting right here. This fits the description of black lava type. I mean, if you look at the structure, just look at the surface structure on it, the texture. Look at compared to the rest of the samples. But this one is definitely unique. This is exactly the description of what we're hearing, and it fits the profile.
The team moves from the dive site to the beach. In order to comb the debris field completely, the team divides the area into a grid of 3-foot by 3-foot sections, beginning at the beach and traveling up the hillside.
Anything there, Bill?
Interesting crystal, look at this.
I'm looking for any kind of rock that would appear like it was some sort of byproduct of a sort of metallic smelting process. Something that was so hot, it melted, liquefied, was ejected or dropped from a donut-shaped UFO, and somehow landed on the shore here.
300 feet from the shore, Ronnie finds an L-shaped object, approximately 14 inches long, that seems to fit the description.
One really interesting piece that I found is a piece of slag, I think. Again, we have to really examine it.
Very interesting.
This I found way up there, up in the hill, which is this spot here. And that's I think is the path that if the object was starting to take off, it would have projected this way. What'd you come up with, Pat?
I found them sufficiently interesting. It's kind of striated, it's got a twist to it. It looks like it may have been dripping, like oozing, if it was molten at one time and maybe solidify when it cooled.
We found a few pieces on the beach that seem to match the slag that we found in Puget Sound. Lab tests will confirm this or not. We're going to be talking to George Early. He knows these cases. More importantly, he's spoken to all the local people in the area, so he knows the ins and outs of these cases and the details that few people could know just from reading books.
Here he comes.
There's George now.
Hi, George. Pull up a log.
Thank you, Bill.
George Early is a UFO researcher and longtime resident of the Pacific Northwest. He was brought in by the team because he has an encyclopedic knowledge of this case and of the events that resulted from this encounter. This is the first time George Early has spoken publicly about his research into this case.
A fellow named Harold Dahl saw up there 6 slightly squashed donuts about 100 feet in diameter with a hole about 25 feet. One of them began to drop massive debris from this hole in the center, which apparently was red hot because he said it hissed when it hit the water, it hit his boat, it hit his son, broke his arm, hit the dog, killed the dog.
According to Early, the story of Harold Dahl's UFO incident reached the Air Force, and 2 intelligence officers were sent to retrieve the possible UFO debris.
The Air Force intelligence people who came were given a box, like so, of fragments, which they took kind of reluctantly, but they took them back.
So the Air Force B-25 leaves and heads back to where, Hamilton?
Hamilton Field in California. They went out of McCord Field and they headed south, reportedly at 10,000 feet.
So they're at 10,000 feet, and that's when problems start to happen.
Yeah.
According to official Air Corps reports, on August 1st, 1947, 40 days after the incident, Harold Dahl reported that he was visited by, quote, 2 military intelligence officers who took from him the pieces of debris he and his men collected. The officers brought the specimens on board a B-25 bomber, which was to take them from McCord Air Force Base in Tacoma, Washington, to Hamilton Air Force Base in Northern California. What happened in the minutes after takeoff is the biggest mystery of the Maury Island incident. The plane had been thoroughly inspected and overhauled just 2 weeks before. Yet 20 minutes after taking off, the plane crashed in the remote wilderness outside of Kelso, Washington. 2 passengers parachuted to safety, but the 2 pilots died in the crash. According to official Air Corps reports, the plane was brought down by a fire in an internal junction box. But some UFO researchers believe the UFO debris in the cargo hold may have triggered a series of events that brought the plane down.
I think we've done enough here. We're off to Kelso. Kelso is where the plane wreckage is. We're going to do a grid search. We're going to look for plane parts. We're going to walk the area.
The answers may lie on Kelso.
Indeed, off to Kelso.
On the way to the Kelso crash site, Pat insists the team stop at the library to see if town archives could provide further information about the crash.
So, Pat, what have you found?
Check this out. You were right.
I was right?
The summer of '47 was swimming with saucers. The skies were alive with flying saucers. Look at this. Flying discs now seen in 39 states.
Wow.
Mysterious objects in the sky first began to surface when Kenneth Arnold reported seeing 9 silvery discs flying over Mount Rainier 3 days after the Maury Island sighting. His story made headlines all over the country. But 2 weeks later, an even bigger story takes center stage.
Here it is, July 7th. Trio describes flying saucers. I'm looking now, I'm trying to see the Roswell connection here. Okay, here we are, July 8th. Army reveals disc is found in New Mexico.
Army reveals disc found in New Mexico. Unbelievable.
Wow, okay.
Some of the saucers.
Right.
Okay, let's go to August 1st and see what we can see.